Welcome to this session on the evolution of observability from rather a gloomy day here in New York. However, I'm thrilled to be here as June the 1st is actually one of my favorite days of the year, so I couldn't have got off to a better start being able to present to you today. So my name is Neil Pearson, and I've been working really hard in this area of the industry for the best part of 25 years. I actually joined LogicMonitor last month as what we call an observability specialist. I'm currently based in the UK, but support our organization across the EMEA region. Just a little bit about me. So I previously worked at Bank of America, where I was responsible for managing their enterprise monitoring products and services. So I come from not just the vendor side, but also as a practitioner and on the customer side. All right, so let's get started. So I think everyone would agree that the last 2 years have been the toughest, in memory. Certainly the toughest I've ever known in the last 31 years working in the IT industry. During that time, digital transformation initiatives have increased massively, primarily due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Technology teams are really tasked with driving increased efficiency and agility in this increasingly complex system landscape. And as that complexity increases, DevOps practices and underlying DevOps culture is increasingly important to driving customer success and deliver on your organization's business objectives. But of course, digital transformation and changing the way you work comes with risks. I think you'd all agree with that. You've been asked to go faster than ever before to ensure that you remain competitive in your own markets. However, your systems, like everyone else's, are not immune from outages. These are some of them that have hit the news recently, but even the companies with the largest budgets, right, have issues. Facebook, a major outage last year affected, millions and millions of customers around the world, and it was all linked to configuration change. Stuff is going to break, right? But the real challenge is how are you going to respond to it? Now, I keep track of outages all the time. It's just one of the things I like to do to get a really good understanding of what is the root cause of these outages. And the common thing that comes up time and time again is configuration change, right? Whether that be on the infrastructure side, application changes, but ultimately they are the root causes of these outages, right? So it makes complete sense when you think about it. There's just the high rate of change that's now occurring. So if you're looking at cloud and microservice architectures together with DevOps practices and processes, you can really see, why, we're having these type of, issues. Right? Those that are hitting the news it's just that there's just a high rate of change. You'd be releasing, 10, 20, even hundreds of times per day, right? So how many regressions have you had to take, right, to roll back to your baseline? Change on to make competitive in the environment, and that is happening. This pace of change clearly correlates directly with this microservice architecture, but everyone on the digital transformation journey is at a different state. Where are you on your digital transformation, strategy and journey? How do you understand the impact of performance on end users and customers? Because in my experience, that's really where the focus should be, right? Is, if you're offering poor experience to your customers, they're clearly going to go elsewhere. It did used to be a lot simpler in the monolithic era, but clearly DevOps is the enabler for this type of transition and has led to the evolution of monitoring methods to what we here at LogicMonitor call unified observability. So I'm going to cover that obviously more shortly, and that is obviously the main of this presentation. But let's just carry on with how traditional and modern applications differ. So to compare them, before it was all about running business, right? Versus driving a business. Budgets need to be fixed, right, with right? Minimal impact. The applications, which are still out there, we have worked in financial services, other industries, IBM, as those are the type of ERP platforms, right? So there's a lot of legacy applications and monolithic architecture still out there, but really the drive is towards cloud and multi-cloud, and what comes with that is cloud native infrastructure, right? Which is more transformative in nature. That's all about redriving revenue versus just running the business. New types of roles appeared over the last few years. So in particular is one that is very popular right now. Being able to hire engineers that really focus on driving stability and reliability when they're working across development and operations, sitting in the middle. So that's really where we're seeing now in modern applications. The main focus is, and cloud is obviously one of the key drivers there. That is really looking to increase revenue versus running the business. So with the pace of change, right, and everything that is going on with these cloud and cloud native architecture, dominating the infrastructure landscape, there are different ways of managing operations and applications, and these do have a direct impacts on those teams, such as DevOps, SRE, and more traditional IT ops and network ops. So in my own experience over the last 25 years in this space, I like to think the data silos is the real villain here. That has led to monitoring tools. Legacy monitoring tools clearly are not fit for modern applications. Right? That leads to rising operating costs, the complexity around hybrid cloud and multi-cloud, and the growth of cloud and cloud native. This led to these infrastructure, these silos, I like to call it, which is the villain here, and that's the problem we've been faced with for so many years now. And as you see, I'll go through all these on the screen, but it has led to limited visibility, right? You've got two different tools, monitoring different pieces of your infrastructure and applications. It's so hard to have a single view into what is impacting business, right? That's really what we're trying to do here. Now, part of some of our research, and one of the most startling findings that I noticed, and it comes up no surprise, is that if you see there, 1 in 4 professionals are spending 1 day per week troubleshooting application errors. Now, I'm sure you agree this is just staggering amount of time, right? That could be given back to you to focus on the things that matter to your organization. It cannot just be about surviving. It's about thriving, right? So we need to give you the time back to focus on the things that you most. And part of that is reducing the amount of time you need to push application and infrastructure errors. So, bit of a bit like this, but I'm going to do a poll question in it. But one of the things we like to show when we set vision and strategy around unified observability is, where are you on your journey as it relates to your traditional on-premise architecture, running VMs, bare metal servers, right? Shifting to structure as a service, EC2, Azure, GCP, right? Where you're effectively renting a server, running your VMs up on there, factoring those, to more, on innovation, to more platforms. So, Kubernetes, Docker, and all of that, and microservice architectures. To a lot of stuff are really focusing, starting before there, right? Cloud native, serverless, running as a really, starting with CI/CD, right? And this is an area I'm really interested in personally. Is relating back to changes, right? So you've got all these CI/CD pipelines, all these different changes, right, happening today. How can we get in front of these changes so that we can prevent issues, from occurring in the first place? So what I'd like to do is, just run a whole question that says, where are you on your journey, right? So if I can just run the poll question, please, and just give you a few seconds to give your answer. Just going to wait for that to appear on your browser. So the question is, where are your workloads most running today? Is it, number one primarily, 1 and 2, right? Lift shift, more sort of 2 and 3. You really, moved on to, platform as a service mostly, and a bit of cloud native, right? So where are you on your journey is the question that we're interested in. Because we ask this question all the time, and we have started to see some patterns emerging. So be interested to see where you're at on your journey. Just give you a little bit of time to enter in your result, and I'll just give it a few seconds, and then we will close it. Just 2 more seconds. Okay, if we could close the poll, please, and I'll be able to see the results. So what I'll do is I'll come back to the result at the end, right, just to give an indication of where we're seeing where you're mostly running your workloads. Okay. All right. So thank you for that. Let's just move on to the next piece. All right. So this is just my own, story as it relates to observability, right? I'm hoping everyone kind of has an idea what it means, but I will explain it if you're not that familiar. So on the left-hand side, I first started way back in, the early 90s. And the first time I ever used a proper monitoring tool was way back in 95 with a solution called CA Unicenter. Now, they partnered with Microsoft at the time to run on Windows NT, right? Some of you may not even know what that is, but nevertheless, it was a way to, in 3D, visualize a data center to see, you could actually move in, look around to see where problems were. It was 27 years ago now, but I still have, a lot of memories around that. And that was my first time ever, seeing a commercial monitoring tool. But when I moved to IBM in 1997, a new standard was starting to emerge around we need to be able to measure application response times, right? So Tivoli and HP came together and created what's called the ARM standard, the Application Response Measurement Standard. Now that was adopted by the Young Group in 1997, right? And it remains there today. However, they've not updated it since 2007, which version 4.1 is the last version that has been released. So in between those, two periods there, in 2001, emerged something called Observability. So that was all up to understand how we can improve relationships with customers, covering revenue generating opportunities and improving quality of service. But that never really lived up to expectations, right? But again, this was 21 years ago that this was introduced. So what we're trying to do now with observability, right, is has its links back to some of these initiatives from the past, right? Now, in between 2007 2016 is when cloud and software as a service really started to gain momentum and then to mainstream what we know today. So there's a huge gap there where there was very little innovation in this particular space, right? So it wasn't until 2016 when the Cloud Native Computing Foundation introduced open tracing, right, as a new way to being able to instrument our applications to the performance of them. And, tracing spans in application code. So we can see when a transacts, where is the bottleneck, right? Is the database call, right? The query running at the time, what was late? So coming on from that in 2018 was the open metric standard, and closely aligned to the Prometheus solution. Again, coming out of the cloud native foundation, and those two merged in last year, right, to form what we now call open telemetry. So this is where we are today. So going all the way back in my own experience to 95 to where we're today, you really see how things have changed, right? So we're really focusing on metrics, traces, and logs, using the open telemetry standard, and this is what LogicMonitor is supporting and contributing to. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we've only got about 10 minutes left, but it's really we really support this because it avoids lock-in, right? It's no playing field now where we don't have proprietary agents you need to install, right, to instrument your application code, so we can understand where the issues are. So you avoid that, right? It's all about open and agentless data collection. It is designed for modern tech. Does support by some modern application. I love this. Take a look at it. You may have seen it before. What this is all about, in my view, is there's a big expectation that AI and machine learning can help us with a crystal ball understand. Okay, we can predict the future, right? And it's not quite like that, right? So I was at an event a couple of years ago where the professor in AI at MIT college said, look, the best we've really got to right now, if we're being honest, is we can understand the difference between a dog and a cat, right? So we can analyze all this data. Okay, we keep seeing, cats, there's a dog, right? We can notice the difference. So that's what we're really doing in terms of AI ops, is understanding, being able to forecast, when issues, are likely to occur, right? So we do give you that advanced warning, right? An early warning system, but to try and avoid alert storms, pointing, right? We want to be able to clearly use some time to repair and help become efficient. Just moving away from the break fix model, right, to a more trying to do a prevent, right? Can we predict when certain things are going to happen, right? And being able to have enough time to prevent them from actually impacting your end users. Okay, so get a move on here. So our vision at LogicMonitor is that all organizations should absolutely consider adopting and enabling unified observability across your hybrid and multi-cloud landscapes. We want to measurably improve how your business operates and give staff the time they need to focus on the thing that matters to them most, right? This is what unified observability is all about. So our strategy is to really unlock that end-to-end visibility to help you organization review and optimize applications, right? It enables operations to dramatically improve workflows, right? Foster stronger collaboration across what are these villainous data silos, where we've got to resolve that, right? To make it easier to identify what we call the unknown unknowns, right? I'm not sure if you know the difference, but typically with traditional monitoring approaches, we focus on the known unknowns. So we know what to monitor, right? We set up templates and thresholds, so we know what to monitor, but we don't know when things are going to occur. AI and machine learning can help, right, to forecast when things like capacity issues are going to impact our service, but we really want to identify the unknown unknowns. So by using metrics, right, logs, machine data, and traces helps us to understand, it analyzes the output, right, so the external state of a system, right? So your system, it generates metrics, traces, logs, right? And from that, we can ascertain, okay, we can identify what is going to impact users, right? So that's really the goal here, to identify the unknown unknowns. So just a couple of some of our results. We did a survey last year. Top two things here is about increasing visibility across your IT stack, right? That's one of the key benefits of unified observability. Performance visibility. So again, absolutely critical. Monitoring tool consolidation. Right? There are a lot of benefits here, right, to help you improve how you manage your applications in your business. So our approach is really like this. So if you look on the right-hand side, it's all about understanding the business, right, first of all. So we can capture your metrics, right, whether they're pushed into LogicMonitor, right, via, say, metrics, open metrics, or Prometheus. We can integrate with your existing tools, right, that capture business, like Net Promoter Score. Why are we seeing a dip in revenue? Right? We need to be able to relate that to the underlying actions, right, that are driving driving your business, right? Whether that's across your cloud or cloud native or on-premise, right, and the underlying infrastructure. We need to focus on adding you context, right, by ingesting those different types of data, metrics, logs, traces, right. We give you that context, so capture those metrics, and that will enable you to improve your workflows, so that you have visibility down, right. This has been the single pane of glass goal all along, right. It's solved. So you've got to be able to relate all your different data sources so that you can determine the root cause, right? And then create actionable alerts, sending those to your incident management platform. This is achieved by adding our intelligence engine layer on top. That's where we apply our AI and machine learning to detect anomalies, right, and dynamic thresholds, things of that nature that help reduce noise in your environment. So it's all becoming more intelligent in how you resolve problems in your environment. Just briefly, I'll go through a couple of these. So just products. So on the screen there, you can see this is an application trace. Now, in context, you have access to all of the machine data, the logs, your metrics, and alerts. Everything is in context so that you can rapidly troubleshoot what's actually going on. So typically, you would have many different tools, right, to achieve this, right? But this is what we are offering, is the ability to have that single view, right, all the way from your business down to the infrastructure. This is our key differentiator. In context, that allows you to build resiliency. So as I mentioned, we focus on anomaly detection, right, primarily, and dynamic thresholds to allow you to take action much earlier. And it's all about shared ownership, right? So we want to enable, foster that collaboration as I go on. Each team, is equipped with, how to maximize application service and delivery quality, right? Be able to, create that stable and scalable infrastructure. That's got to be one of the goals. So we advise, obviously our customers how to achieve this, right? And how to develop your roadmap as well, with our Sol as partner. So there are really 4 ways to achieve unified observability. One, embrace, the convergence that's going on in your environment. If you are looking to consolidate tools, that's an ideal starting point. You need to prioritize invest in unified observability. It just doesn't work when there's 10 different tools involved, right? How is that improving how you troubleshoot and manage applications, right? It really defeats the object there as anti-pattern. You need to keep abreast of what's going on, right, in IT trends, and obviously adapt an agile approach, but that does come with risks, as I mentioned earlier on. But clearly, we need to be avoiding business disrupting outages all the time. So that is one of the goals that we want to achieve, is to make sure that we're capturing the unknown unknowns, right? So then you can get in front of the issue before there's an outage, because they will do happen. lastly, really, understanding, a unified observability, giving you an overview of our strategy. Well, what's in it for me, right? Some of the business benefits. So, there are 5 key areas. One, yes, we can save you a lot of money, typically with consolidating all your tools, right? Therefore, we impact your bottom line operational costs. Secondly, operational, right? You'll get visibility into your business metrics, your applications and infrastructure to make an impact to how your company operates, become more efficient. And I like to call this operational excellence, right? Getting measurably better at how you run your organization. Thirdly, it's about risks. By preventing issues that would otherwise impact customers and users, we will mitigate those risks and help protect your brand, right? So you want to avoid reputational damage at all costs, right? Clearly, when I showed you earlier on, all those, outages that hit the news, that's what we're talking about here. And this is what unified observability can help you achieve. Fourth is around time to market. Hopefully with fewer regressions you need to make, your application become more stable and viable. That allows you to become more competitive. You're introducing new products and services into your markets. Finally, the last thing, is the important thing of all, is around experience, as in, customer experience and end user experience. Because at the end of the day, this is what the main focus should be. And you can achieve that with unified observability. So we can easily determine the impact of performance on end customers and your users, both external customers, internal users, and both, to prevent issues, right? This is what we can do now. Okay, so I think I'm running out of time here. So to try and understand a bit more about what we're doing, right, around observability, there's a free research report here, which you can download. So please, click on the link there, right, or just go onto the website, and you can download the report. But we would be happy to, if you wanted to have a one-to-one meeting with us, right, we'll be more than happy to arrange that via with us as well.